Hey everyone, welcome back. My name is Bruce, and in today's video I'm going to be attempting to MIG weld aluminum for the first time. This should be an interesting video. I have no experience whatsoever MIG welding aluminum, so if you're interested in that, stick with me. You might be considering buying a MIG welding machine and you have the curiosity about MIG welding aluminum, or maybe you already have a MIG machine and you want to MIG weld some aluminum. I'm going to be doing it today using the YesWelder MIG 250 Pro. The machine comes basically advertised as capable of MIG welding aluminum without a spool gun. It has a Teflon liner that I've installed into the torch lead or the gun lead. I have a video showing all the details on that. If you want to check it out, I'll link that in the description, or I'll put a card up here in the corner of the video where you can go check that out. I've done a little bit of research on this subject, maybe just enough to barely get started. So if you're curious as to how that's going to go, this might be a real good video depicting exactly how it would be for you for your first time to MIG weld aluminum. From what I've read, you want to have the gun set up with a Teflon liner or graphene liner, which I've done. I'm using 0.035 wire, and I'm also using 5356. The 5356, as opposed to the 4043, is a much stiffer wire, so that's why I'm using the 5356. I'm using the 0.035 wire, and I'm using a 0.045 tip in my MIG gun. The problem with MIG welding aluminum without a spool gun is potentially feed problems with the wire, pushing that soft wire through the gun. So you want to have your lead as straight as you possibly can. I got a real good deal on this Blue Demon off of Amazon. I'll leave the link in the description. I paid $5 for a 1-pound spool. I thought that was pretty good. That's the best I could find. It was kind of a sale going on by Blue Demon, so hopefully they still have the sale going on if you want to try to get some of this wire for yourself. You also need to switch out the wire feed roller to the one that has the U on it. It has the U-shaped channel, and it has a 0.9 and a 1.2, and that's for 0.035 wire or 0.045 wire. I'm using the 0.035, so I'm using the U-shaped 0.9 roller. I'll be using some 1/8 inch aluminum coupons. Got the machine over here set up. So let's have a look at the settings I'll be using on the YesWelder MIG 250 Pro for MIG welding aluminum. So we're going to go with Synergic mode. So using this mode button, be the second one down for Synergic. And then the material button will select the proper material over here. The bottom one is argon 100%. And that will be our setting for MIG welding aluminum. I'm using 0.035 wire, so that is set properly. I don't need to adjust that. So I'll be using 1/8 inch material. So using the chart that's provided with the YesWelder MIG 250 Pro, on the bottom of the chart, that's 211 amps for Synergic current, 211. And it's showing 17.9 for the voltage. So we'll try that to start with, and we'll see what that does for us. So I've got 211 set for 1/8 inch aluminum, Synergic, argon 100%, 0.035 wire, using 100% argon shielding gas. One advantage you may have as opposed to just a standard MIG machine is this machine is capable and has Synergic settings programmed into it. Now I have no idea if they're any good or not. We're going to find that out today. I'm just going to set it up since I have no experience MIG welding aluminum, and we'll just find out how well the Synergic settings work on this YesWelder MIG 250 Pro. Now what I understand is you want to push with aluminum, and you also may have to really increase your travel speed. So we'll see how this goes. This is my very first attempt to MIG weld aluminum with the YesWelder MIG 250 Pro. Wow. Now, as I started running these first few beads, as you can see, they're really raised up and just appear to just be sitting right on top of the material. And actually, as I continued with this, they were just sitting on top of the material because a couple of beads actually just fell right off of the coupon. So I kept going to town, changing settings, trying new settings. I switched from the Synergic setting on the YesWelder over to the manual settings and tried a few settings there. And I was still getting the same result of a bead that was just sitting right on top of the material. And then it finally occurred to me that the polarity was set up incorrectly. I actually, for these first few beads, had it set with DCEN, electrode negative, which is incorrect for MIG welding aluminum. It won't break off the oxide layer if you have it set up like that, and you won't get any penetration. And these are what your beads will look like if you have the incorrect polarity set on your machine. You heard that little whistle sound and I got burned back on the tip. And that's going to happen several times as I proceed with these welds from here on out. It gives a little whistle and it burns back right to the contact tip. Now, I never did weld the aluminum to the tip, but it would burn back right to the tip and it would stop feeding because I've got my wire feed tension set very lightly so I don't end up with a bird nest. But it does lay down a pretty nice bead. Of course, for the first time, they're not awesome or anything. I need some practice on that. But as I go through this, I do get a few more welds that look pretty decent. But I also continued to get that little whistle sound and the burn back. I think that's due to a couple of things. One, I think I could increase my wire feed speed and maybe prevent that. And two is I'm not holding, in some cases, enough stick out. Aluminum requires about a 3/4 of an inch stick out so that you don't get that burn back and weld the aluminum wire to the contact tip. So I'm trying to get used to that and just trying to learn this process. I do believe that the YesWelder MIG 250 Pro is definitely a capable welder of MIG welding aluminum, and I just need some more practice. There's a decent looking bead. Then I switch over and I try the manual settings. 18 volts, 12 meters per minute. But you heard that little whistle sound, and then I was able to continue. When I hear that, I just tried to increase my stick out slightly just by positioning the gun, and it prevented it from burning back to the tip to where it stopped welding. Again, not a bad looking bead for first time around. Now you notice there's quite a bit of soot on these welds, which I think is a byproduct of this MIG welding aluminum. But there's also ways to reduce that or minimize it, and one of them is to increase the gas flow. I've been running all of these beads with 20 cubic feet per hour on the argon. I think if I increase that, I could minimize some of that soot. It's really easy to wipe off, and I'm just practicing. I didn't want to burn up a lot of the argon, just trying this out. But if I was welding an actual part that I cared about, I could increase that and probably reduce some of that. Future testing and experimenting and practice will let me know if I'm actually thinking correctly on that, but I think that's what's going on there. That one looked like it got a little bit hot. I was having fun. I just started welding and going crazy until I ran out of coupons. But it was a lot of fun, and I gotta warn you, MIG welding aluminum for the first time with the YesWelder MIG 250 Pro was a very addictive and fun thing to practice and play around with. So if you want to try this out for yourself, make sure you've got some coupons laying around that you can use to burn up, because I was going through them, just welding bead after bead. I wasn't even waiting for the parts to cool. I was having so much fun, just going to town on this. Obviously, I need a whole lot more practice, but that will come with time. I really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. I did not adjust any of the settings. I used the manual settings per the chart and then the Synergic settings, and I didn't make any adjustments just so I could see how the machine does right out of the box with the recommended settings. I think this YesWelder MIG 250 Pro is a great multi-process machine, and I would highly recommend it. I'll include all the links and coupon codes in the description of this video for those of you who have interest in this type of machine and want to find out more about it or potentially even purchase one for yourself. That's probably the best one I did. The last 3/4 of that weld bead I think are completely acceptable for MIG welding aluminum, especially for the first time. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you got anything out of it or just enjoyed the entertainment of watching somebody MIG weld aluminum for the first time, don't forget to give me a thumbs up. If you haven't already and you're interested in this type of content, don't hesitate to subscribe to the channel for more videos just like this and see how my MIG welding aluminum for the first time continues to evolve as I get more practice. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you on the next video.